Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, today I have a couple of possible alien encounters. One with one of the women in black, the WIB, and the other, this family encounters these rodent, cat-like creatures in their house. Both accounts are truly startling. We'll start off with this article titled, Creepy Female Stranger Attends Minneapolis MUFON Meeting, and we'll hear all about it. So, let's read this article by getting into this brief excerpt from it before getting into the entire account. After the meeting was over, the witnesses lost track of the stranger and asked the other participants, but incredibly no one else had noticed the peculiar woman. This took place in Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota, July 2003 evening. Let's get into the account now. Kim Cutterow and her sister were attending a monthly MUFON meeting. At the meeting, they noticed a woman there whom Kim, a regular attendee, had not seen before. She was different. Her features were severe and noticeably pronounced, especially from a side view of her face. They could not help but notice that her face was large in size and elongated slightly, with a rounded head and ending in a very pointy chin. Now, what's also interesting about this account, folks, is that she didn't take off the black sunglasses that she wore. And from the description, it really does sound like this woman, there was something off about her facial features. All in all, the impression I get that the witness's description of this woman is that they just felt that there was something off about her, and the more they tried to look at her, the more uncomfortable they seemed to be getting, especially with the fact every time they tried to look at her, something odd would happen. It would be something I don't want to spoil just yet, folks, but because the witnesses became more and more unsettled every time they tried, folks. But continuing with the article, folks, yes, this woman really does give the vibe off here that she's a woman in black, sent there perhaps maybe to listen in on this particular meeting, folks, because it was indeed, well, a MUFON meeting, folks. Either way, let's continue with this article. Another striking feature of her appearance was her oversized sunglasses, which she kept on during the entire meeting, even when the room was darkened to watch a video. The dark sunglasses never came off and covered half of her face. Kim and her sister kept stealing glances at her whenever they felt she was not looking, but somehow the woman would always be looking at them before they would even think of looking in her direction. She said nothing during the entire meeting. Her hair was big and feathered. Her lips were quite thin. She seemed to be much more interested in scanning the room and the other attendees than anything else. She gave the witnesses the creeps. After the meeting was over, the witnesses lost track of the stranger and asked the other participants, but incredibly, no one else had noticed the peculiar woman. Source, Kim Cutterow, witness Albert S. Rosalius. So thanks to Kim Cutterow, the witness, and Albert S. Rosalius for once again telling us about this particular encounter with this woman, folks. And yes, the fact that Kim Cutterow and her sister, every time they tried to look at this woman, she'd be basically staring at them before they'd even think about basically turning their heads. Makes me think that this woman was there to basically spy on this meeting and observe the attendees. And that's where I get the feeling here, folks. I can only imagine how unsettling this is. And what makes me even more perplexed is that, well, no one else seems to have seen this woman. You would think that basically, well, these people at this MUFON meeting, they would have noticed this woman who clearly looks like, well, she shouldn't be there and that she was observing them. And also that she resembles the women in black. I mean, she clearly gives off basically being maybe an agent of the government or indeed maybe a member of this group, the women in black, or as I've also said, folks, maybe they're somehow related to the men in black as well as the, well, black-eyed kids and other such entities. So why didn't anyone notice this woman and what she was doing there? It's so unsettling. Do you think it's possible that she was somehow altering the people's perception at this MUFON meeting? I think there is a good argument for that. But either way, folks, we'll talk about this a little while later. But let's get into the next article. White, cat-faced upright creatures are in her house. And this is, another story in which the witnesses encounter these alien beings, and as I said, folks, they're almost rodent-like from basically the picture used here, folks, but also they have cat features. So they're almost like basically, well, some sort of alien semi-humanoid beings that basically seem to basically be, well, visiting this person's house. So let's get into this article now by reading yet another brief blurb from it before we get into the entire account. When you try to hit or touch the creatures, you are stunned and cannot move until the creature has moved past. No noise. We do not know when the things are coming. So, very strange, folks. Let's get into the full account because this is certainly startling so far, folks. Hello, there have been unknown creatures seen by my dad and me in our house. The creatures are short, whiter as white, with long tails, and they look like they have cat-like faces. The creatures have really pointed legs, and they walk on their two back legs. When you try to hit or touch the creatures, you are stunned and cannot move until the creatures have moved past. No noise. We do not know when the things are coming, but this has been going on for at least a year. Sometimes varied, but much the same. Considering how these little creatures are described, folks, they feel like something you'd see from Star Wars. Not quite like the Ewoks, but some sort of, small, almost, Yoda-like creatures that basically come off as more cute than anything else, folks. Almost like tree cats from a well-known novel series. I just don't quite remember where the tree cats exactly come from, but they do sort of sound like them. Do you suppose that these creatures are telepathic? I mean, they do seemingly are able to stun people just by, I guess, walking past them so they can't harm them. So that's an interesting little thing there too. But folks, let's continue with this article and then we can discuss these creatures as well as the mysterious woman from the first article. They touch my dad on his leg, his knee. They seem to jump on the bed or land on the bed because you can feel the movement. They mess with me, but it is like I am knocked out, and when I wake up, I cannot remember. And I am not a drinker or a druggie, so I cannot imagine what is going on to me. Now, I have a dog, a pit bull, that I thought would scare these things away, but they freak my dog out, and he has gotten so hyper that I have to get the dog some anti-anxiety medicine. Sometimes there is more than one creature in the house. They come to the house on Wednesday afternoons and stay until Thursday night. Sometimes we can hear boxes being dragged across the floor, but when I get up and check, there's nothing. Last week, I found weeds and grass from the outside bushes by the back door on the patio deck. There was no reason for that to be there. Now, I don't know what these entities are, but it appears that they're exploring, this witness's house intermittently, almost as if they're basically, just having fun with the witnesses. Like they're just basically treating this guy's house and, his son and the property that they are on like as if these entities literally own the place. I mean, I get that feeling, folks, that these entities basically do what they want and mess with the, owners here just for sheer giggles. But that's just me, folks. But it also basically corroborates other stories I've read about before in which alien entities literally seem to basically do these weird things to people just for, as I said, fun. Either way, folks, let's finish off this article and then we can talk about this and the first article a little bit more. I have 2 cameras set on night vision setup, and whatever these things are, they managed to avoid getting caught. One night, I was sleeping, which was on camera. All of a sudden, my feet started moving up and down, and it was not me doing it, but nothing was caught on the camera other than my feet and me sleeping. Okay, I have to ask, do the cameras actually just show you just sleeping peacefully? But you say that you basically wake up in the middle of the night and your leg is literally moving on its own, as if someone is literally moving your body as if you were a puppet. Now, do you think that this is actually happening to you? Because it sounds like, to me, this sounds like it could be some sort of dream you're having here, folks. Do you think that is exactly what S is experiencing? Because I can't rule out anything here, folks. But him saying that basically when he looks at the camera he's set up and he sees that there's nothing going on, it sounds like maybe he dreamed that part of this encounter. But then again, maybe these beings are able to manipulate anything they want, even the film that's basically being shot of them. So literally, you can't film them for all we know, folks. I do believe that maybe S is experiencing this stuff, folks. It's a little far-fetched, but it could very well be real. Because it all sounds very familiar, especially with the first story, folks. Remember, this woman, and I guess I would call her a woman in black, she knew that these witnesses wanted to look at her, and she was always staring at them just before they actually did. But with this case, folks, with these, psychic tree cats, they seem to basically do whatever they want, basically with just the power of their mind. So it makes me think, like with other stories, it corroborates that these entities do have the power, to do things that we would consider magical or basically literally, psychic and stuff like that. Either way, very interesting, but we're at the end, folks, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions or the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Hit the part of the bell that will give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdog's Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.